So, hello everybody and everywhere, and we are continuing our course on presence and awareness, a kind of a secular meditation format. And why is that secular meditation? Because we can have any kind of goal we want, yeah? So you remember what kind of goal you have. Maybe you have an idea to become more effective at your work. Maybe you want to learn how not to be distracted, for being able to drive your car better without accidents. Well, there can be many things. So maybe you want to know how is your mind in order to relax better, etc. So we can have many different kinds of goals which are meant to improve our current existence. Yeah. So this is what is secular goal. Yeah, our ordinary life, and we want it to be improved a little bit. That's a very legitimate thing to want. And spiritual context is something different. Spiritual context means that we have something beyond our current life. Beyond, not only beyond in time, yeah, because we all know what is beyond in time. Beyond in time means in death, yeah, after death. But we have no idea what's happening after death. Maybe we have some reports, but who knows? Yeah, who knows how it is? Yeah, but beyond also means beyond our ordinary interests, yeah, because our ordinary interests can be like having just pleasant life, having home, having food, having money, etc. These are ordinary things like having relationship, having a partner, etc. Yeah? And there are other goals which could be like becoming more free, yeah? Or achieving some kind of transcendent states, etc. So these are like spiritual goals, something like this. So this is the difference. But whatever goal you have, with whatever goal you came here, with whatever task, then you think about it. Because if you came with this goal, it means it is important for you. So you feel the importance of this task. Yeah? Why you came, why you're going to take this course, why you're going to do this practice. Yeah? Just think about it. Feel your goal. Feel how nice it would be to achieve this goal. Yeah? And then connect what you're going to do now with achieving this goal. So you're not just doing some exercises and have fun and listen to jokes, etc., maybe learning something new. But connect what you're going to do now with achieving the goal you want to achieve. And then notice what happens to you. What happens to the structure of your attention? What happens to your consciousness? Okay, and then we set the context for our session, and everyone says for oneself. Yeah? As I said already, if that were a spiritual context, then it would have been my responsibility to explain you what your goal is. Yeah? But everyone is responsible for oneself. So in this way, you decide which is your goal. Okay. And now with this feeling of pursuing, following some task, following some goal, we are sitting comfortably. And we remember that we are sitting comfortably. It means that we can enjoy how we sit. Yeah? This is the meaning of feeling comfortable. Feeling comfortable is something you don't want to change. No? So you sit, and for feeling comfortable, you need to sit stable. So you check if you are sitting stable. Because if you are like shaky, sitting very shaky, then you don't feel comfortable. In general, there are some people who do, but mostly we don't. And then also our position is even, is straight, is even, balanced. So try to find a balanced position of your body. Because when the position is balanced, that we don't need to hold our body, to use muscles of our legs, muscles of our arms, muscles of our back, muscles of our belly. If we go out of balance, then we apply these muscles. And this is a lot of work. And when we are balanced, and when we want to deal with our mind, it is usually, not always, but usually it is better not to lean on something. Why? Because when we are leaning, then of course we feel comfortable and we feel stable. But the problem is that we are easily falling asleep. I remember when I was in the army, and I was serving in the Soviet army, and of course, when I was just taken to the army, it was a big stress for me. And what is the reaction for stress for some people? For me, it was to sleep. So whenever I sit, I just sit, and I immediately fall asleep. And even I am standing like leaning to something, just lean like this to the wall, and then I'm falling asleep. Yeah? And my record was we were marching, and I was sleeping while marching. Yeah. So I also had this experience. And people nowadays are always very much stressed. Yeah. So of course we are leaning on something that we sleep. That's okay. That's okay. That's a good thing. But the problem is that while we are sleeping, we cannot really learn. So let's try to sit balanced, even, aligned. There is this popular word in the yoga world, alignment. Yeah. And then our chest and shoulders are open, and we can breathe freely. So the chin is slightly tucked in. And the jaws and the tongue are relaxed. So we are not clenching our teeth. and we keep the tip of our tongue right behind upper teeth, touching the palate. And then even we slightly open the mouth, we still continue to breathe through the nose. If we breathe through the mouth, then we easily get dehydrated. Like dogs. But dogs do this for cooling down. And also our eyes, we can shut them, not completely, allowing the light enter our eyeballs. And the direction of our gaze, it can be like just along the line towards the tip of the nose, but not really looking at the tip of the nose. Or we can just look into space, seeing but not watching, not looking at anything. And then all our body is under control. It is relaxed but under control. It means that we are present in all our body. But still relaxed. And just enjoy your position. You have no other job to do. So learn to enjoy the position. And then observe how your body is breathing. We are not observing the breathing, we are observing how our body is breathing and how we notice breathing. This is movement, the movement of sensation. So we are noticing the movement of sensation. And we are checking if our breathing is smooth or rough, long or short, deep or shallow. Even or uneven. And we are noticing how our breathing is changing the direction. And we are checking if this change of direction goes smoothly or not. And when our breathing becomes stable and smooth, then we add this presence related to the sound, the feeling of ah while we are inhaling, and the feeling of whom when we are exhaling. And when we are changing from inhaling to exhaling, and from exhaling to inhaling, we are relaxing this presence. And now we relax, but continue to be in presence. And we can notice how our presence naturally continues. And then again, we apply the breathing with ah and hum. And again, we relax, continuing to be in presence. And we can notice that even though we do not apply any particular effort, but our presence continues by itself. And then if we notice that our presence is no longer stable, then again we apply the breathing of I and whom. And then we relax again, noticing how the presence is effortlessly maintained. Okay, and now try to move your body, feeling how your movement reflects in your sensation. Just refresh your blood flow. You can stretch, you can do whatever your body wants, but with presence, noticing how the movement reflects in the sensations of your body. Okay, and now we try to notice the state of our minds. But before we go to the state of our minds, I say a few words about another kind of awareness, which is awareness of how our actions have consequences. Yeah? Like, for example, you move. Okay, let's move again. Let's move. And then you notice that you have sensations, yeah? So what is the cause of the sensation? Your movement. What is the consequence of your movement? Your sensation, yeah? So we feel it immediately. We don't need to feel it next day or next year. We feel immediately there is a consequence of your movement. And this is a kind of important awareness that in real sense, all our actions, they have consequences. Yeah? Everything that we do has consequences. Even we move our finger, it has consequences. Yeah? Maybe it doesn't have very big consequences, but it has some consequences. And let alone big actions that we are doing, the decisions that we are making. So let's spend some time thinking that every kind of action that we do has its consequences. Whatever we do. When we say a word, it has consequences. We think about something, it also has consequences. You remember we were trying to think about good things and bad things, and we immediately had consequences of that. So all our physical actions have consequences. So when you think about this, feel that there are consequences. So you can briefly think about your day, what you did till this moment, today. Maybe people in Mexico, in the United States, you didn't do much today. Particularly, we are lucky when the people from the United States don't do much, then everyone else is lucky. But you did something yesterday. So think about what you did in recent hours and recent days. Some good things and some things which are not so good. And just recognize these things that you did. They have their consequences. And some consequences are already there, and some consequences are coming. And then think about the things that you're going to do later today. So just enumerate in mind, make a list of some actions. 3, 4, 5 actions, maybe 7 actions that you're going to do. And think that these actions are going to have consequences as well. So maybe you're going to overeat for the night. Yeah? Or maybe you're going to smoke for the night. Or maybe you want to do some physical exercises. And all of that can have its consequences. And notice how you feel when you are thinking, when you are aware of the consequences of your actions. Some consequences you cannot know. But what you can know is that there will be consequences. Okay. Good. So when you're thinking, when you become aware of the consequences of your actions, what kind of immediate consequences do you recognize from that? What changes? Do you recognize any immediate consequences of this kind of thinking, of being aware of the consequences? Do you or you don't? Please, if you do, please share and define these consequences. Yeah, okay. Choice. Okay. Raise your virtual hand and say something. Yeah, please. Piotr?
First of all, the awareness collapses and goes to root of or chain of things that you imagine or that comes to mind. And it's easy to lose the track of what's happening now.
Yeah.
And just slip into this daydreaming.
And that's all.
Something like that. Huh?
That's all.
Well, I don't have any particularly interesting to do in the nearest future, so maybe no excitement.
Okay,
Imagine that.
no excitement, but you're still going to do something. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? So, what do you feel? Yeah, Larissa, please.
Well, it's the awareness. It makes me think one more time. Am I really going to do this? Do I want to do this? For example, maybe not right now because I practice this. So my life is quite structured and I know why I do certain things. But sometimes, like the other day, I was walking past the store, and there were these chips. But like chips that are very nice, very tasty, and I really wanted to buy them. But then I thought, but I have just been 3.5 months sick with COVID in bed, and I put on 10 kilos of weight, and I really subscribed to the gym, paid a lot of money, and it's evening, and I just walked 10,000 steps. If I'm going to buy those chips, what is the consequence of that for me? And then it's a choice. I can choose to do or not to do, but with awareness that I do it. It's not anymore sleepwalking, basically.
Okay.
But I know that also sometimes with anger, sometimes with my students, they do something and I get very angry and upset with them. And then I'm thinking, okay, now am I going to be angry or am I? So there is a choice. I have more freedom. There is a choice of action.
Good.
I feel more not a victim to circumstances, but there is agency to it.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, Alonso, please.
For me, it's mostly about this difference in a way, when we were being present or mindful of the sensations of the body, that's kind of one quality. And when we are aware of these causes and their consequences, and we bring them here, in a way, it's very different from being aware of I raise my hand and lower my hand. It has a very different texture. That's what I'm kind of dwelling now.
Yeah, it's very different. But you feel the effect.
Yes.
Good.
I mean, they just say the same, that in general, when we go to this kind of more mind level, like if I think about this action, it has these consequences, I tend to be distracted. I don't know if more easily, but it's also, I would say, it's a different kind of distraction, like not being aware of my body, how it is moving, or then I get carried away, but this idea then pops into other ideas. That's kind of the thing. It's very fast also, this mind level, like cause and consequences.
Yeah.
Like the body is a little bit more, when we are in the body, it's a little bit more, let's say, slow, for use a word. Like in this other one, it's like I think to this thing and then I'm distracted. And then, oh, I'm distracted. But with the body, it's like, oh, I'm getting sleepy, I'm falling, and then you are distracted. It's different texture.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Rajan, please.
Yeah, at first, when we first started doing it, it was a bit sort of daunting, like almost like a sense of responsibility to be doing something, you know. And then as I sort of relaxed into it, it became a bit more sort of empowering, like more like that choice and that control element. And then there was a bit of thinking going on as well. So there was like starting off with thinking things like, should I cook or get a takeout, and the different impact that could have on me. And then more sort of micro impacts, like what is the consequence, like right now, if I stay still and don't scratch my ear, you know, and starting to have a think about what minute impacts that could have on me right now. So was it a bit of a journey?
Good. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you said the key word here, which is a responsibility. Yeah, because when we understand that our actions have consequences, yeah, then we can say that we feel responsible. Yeah, because when we say irresponsible, because when we don't care about consequences, yeah, this is called irresponsible. And when we know, when we are aware, even we don't know what kind of consequences can there be, but then we feel more responsible. And then, of course, there is a choice whether we apply the action that we want, or we don't apply the action that we want. You know, people are concerned very much, many people, with the idea of free will. What is that free will? Yeah, but when we say free will, when do we say free will? In which situation we say, I have a free will? Our free will is that I have a desire and I follow my desire. This is called free will, right? If I want to do, I do. Yeah, but then where does your desire come from? Do we decide, oh, I'm going to have this desire? No, the desire is just something given. We have this desire and we follow this desire and we call it free will. Yeah, but what is free about this? I mean, we have a will, but what is free in this will? Because do we have a desire, we have an impulse, we have an urge to do something and we follow. What kind of freedom is there? There is no freedom whatsoever. You know? No freedom whatsoever. But where is the freedom? The freedom is when we don't follow the desire. This is the freedom. Yeah? And you know, there were very interesting experiments by a scientist named Benjamin Libet. And he was exploring what is this free will, etc. And then the way the results of his experiments are interpreted is that before we realize we have some desire, some wish, some impulse to do something, this impulse can be detected in our body. This impulse can be detected in our brain. Before we realize we have this wish can already be detected by machine, by EEG. Yeah, for example, it can be detected. So it means we are not willing, but there is something happening, something is pushing us, then we realize it's happening and we feel, oh, this is my wish. Yeah, but there is nothing mine in this wish. Yeah, it's just happening. Yeah. So we have this impulse, and only then, after some time, we realize we want to do something. But the machine already knows. Yeah, the machine already detects, the technology already detects, we are going to do this before we realize we will want to do this. You see, there is no freedom here, no freedom whatsoever. But you know what is interesting, what he also discovered in his experiments? He discovers that we have a kind of veto. No, we can veto these decisions. Yeah, it means not following. You know, like in this Security Council of the United Nations. Yeah, there are 5 countries who have the right to veto any kind of the decision. Yeah, like the United States, Russia, China, France, and Great Britain. Yeah, so whatever decision is made, but they can say no, no go. So we have this kind of veto capacity in us, and even this impulse is arising, and we recognize this impulse, even though we feel this is our wish, but we have a freedom not to follow it. This is the freedom that we have, the freedom not to follow it. Yeah. And Libet invented a very good name for this. He called it free want. Free want. Yeah? Free, you know, will, want, shall not, will not, or won't. Yeah. So he called it free want. Very nice play of words. Yeah, very nice. But this is basically the freedom not to follow our desires. Yeah. So when we are aware, the time gap between an impulse to apply an action and our realization of having this impulse becomes smaller. And the bigger is this gap, the more difficult is to oppose this impulse, yeah? Because it already goes into our system, yeah? You know, and I'm sure that people, for example, people who want to quit smoking, and they just observe, and then they discover that they get distracted and they lit a cigarette, no? Or people who want to cut eating sweet things, they get distracted and then they discover they're already eating a candy or something like this, yeah? So, the more we are aware, the better we are aware and present, the smaller is the gap between the arousal of this impulse and recognizing it, and the easier it is to not follow this impulse. Yeah? So this is also a kind of a freedom. This is a freedom. Not the freedom of following your desires is not freedom. Freedom is when we are able to not follow. Yeah, then we really can choose. Yeah, maybe we follow. Maybe there is no problem to follow this desire. Why not? Like, for example, we have a desire to go for a walk. We have no reason to oppose, to veto this desire. Yeah, no reason. But there are things that we follow. There are things that we don't follow because we are present, we are aware. Yeah? Usually we follow or we don't follow because of our education. Our education is that we need to do this and this and this and this. It's not always bad. Sometimes it's good, no? Like, for example, brushing our teeth. Yeah? We need to learn it. We need to have a habit to brush our teeth. Yeah? And then in the evening, for example, when we go to sleep and we have an impulse, I need to brush my teeth. I don't need to oppose that, really. I need to follow. Yeah? And also, but also some things that we don't do because there is a ban and there is a fear. Yeah? So this is also another purpose of education, to impose some kind of fear through some kind of punishment. A fear to do something. Yeah? You know, in many countries, there was this system of punishment, yeah? when children were beaten. I read that in the United Kingdom they abolished that like maybe 50 years ago. Something like that. Yeah? Yeah, that's a very, very democratic way of educating children. Very, very liberal and democratic. So, and this creates fear. But when we are aware, it has nothing to do with fear. It is based on understanding, not wanting this or that kind of consequences. Yeah? So this is the meaning of awareness. And we can, for example, we can observe what we did, what we are going to do. We can go back in time. We can go ahead in time. Our mind has this capacity. And then we are checking our actions. Yeah? And then maybe we discover also impulses that push us to do certain things. Yeah? And we observe them. We notice them. So this awareness is the awareness of our responsibility, meaning that all our actions have consequences. Yeah? We don't need to always think about this. Then we wouldn't be able to do anything else. Yeah? Then we can also be distracted with that. But this is a general principle and it is not so difficult to understand. And then when we observe, when we discover this awareness of consequences of our actions, everything we can feel something, we can feel some effect, we can feel some kind of presence. But also we can have some very, very special feeling. Something like an awe, you know, this strong feeling. Yeah, because everything we do has consequences. Okay, let's just spend maybe 1 minute maintaining this awareness, not just thinking about this or about that, but just thinking that whatever we do, whatever, you know, there was a very famous novel, short story, not novel, but short story by Ray Bradbury. Yeah. And I don't really, there was a thunder, something like this, I don't really remember the name of it, but it was about traveling in time, back in time, and then a person, he stepped on a butterfly, and then when he returned to his time, then this time was completely changed, and it's called a butterfly effect. Yeah? So, if we think that we create this butterfly effect now, yeah, we cannot go back in time, no, we cannot. But now we are creating our future. At this very moment, what we are doing is creating our future. Yeah? And then it means that we are responsible for our future. The same way as our previous actions shaped our present. Yeah? We did so many things, and these things shaped our present, what we are now, what we have now, all the choices that we made in our life, they shaped. But this we cannot change. But what we can change is being aware of what we are doing now. So let's think about this and not just think intellectually, but feel how it feels to be responsible for the consequences of our actions, for our actions. Okay. So now let's check the state of our minds. So we can check if our mind is calm or moving. This is the basic thing. Is it still or is it moving at this moment? if the mind is calm or agitated. Then you can also check if your mind is foggy or clear. Check if your mind is sleepy or awake. Calm or agitated. Still or moving. Clear or foggy. Sleepy or awake. If your mind is present or distracted. If your mind is composed or scattered. If your mind is obedient or it lives its own life. Obedient to you or it lives its own life. Okay. So, did you discover where you should look in order to understand how your mind is? Did you discover or not? Yeah, good. Yeah. So if I ask you to explain me where you need to look to understand the state of your mind, I don't think you will be able to. But somehow you discover, okay, you see, now there is a message on the screen. What made you go to the screen to read it? Yeah. This is called distraction. Definitely, there should be something important. Alonso was saying something very important. Sure. You need to know. If you don't read, something terrible happens. No? See, this is called a distraction. Thank you, Alonso. I didn't ask Alonso to do this, but this is very helpful. Yeah. Yesterday I was giving a course for Chinese people. Also, we were like maintaining presence and everything went so well, so present. And then somebody typed a message to the chat. And then so many people, what's there? I didn't even bother to look because it wasn't Chinese. Yeah. But also I was very grateful to that person because it shows how our mind works. Yeah. You see, just we are so present, so serene. Yeah. And then a message is appearing on a screen. And our open and spacious, serene, calm mind is immediately collapsing. Boom! Finished. No choice. No choice, you know? We have this choiceless awareness, this expression. But choiceless awareness means the awareness which is not making choices. But this is a kind of awareness that leaves us no choice. Yeah, this is different. Yeah, this is not freedom. A message is appearing on a screen, boom! Not so much freedom, but we feel this was our free will to go and read this message, no? This is the real value of what people call the free will. Yeah. Okay. So now we know where we should look to see the states of our mind. Yeah. Okay. And then you look into your mind and check if you're experiencing, for example, jealousy or frustration or fear or irritation or pride. Maybe you didn't collapse. You noticed there was a message, but you didn't care. And now you feel good about this. I have some level of presence. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice feeling, very pleasant, no? So, got you, no? Got you. Now I feel proud. So you feel pride, or you feel pissed off because you think, oh, I should have been a better meditator, but I just stupidly followed this impulse and read that message. Alonso, how could you do that to me? Yeah. and we feel pissed off. You know, there is this emotion, pissed offness. Yeah, when we're pissed off, then we experience pissed offness. Yeah. So we are checking what kind of emotion we have, what kind of emotional background we have. And then we can discover what emotions can make us feel. So just observe the state of your mind and notice how it is changing. What is the state of your mind now? And then it changes, it doesn't remain the same. So you can see how the mind is changing, the state of mind is changing. It's very normal. You know, I had a meditation student, and he was doing a course. He had a difficult situation in his life, a little bit depressed, and but he was a very clever man, so he could do things, he could really do something. But then he stopped attending classes, and I asked him, but why? And he said, you know, I was diagnosed with bipolar, how you call it, bipolar, I don't remember. Okay, bipolar, yeah, something bipolar. I don't remember the word, but something bipolar. And that's why I'm not like, it's not recommended to do, yeah, bipolar disorder. Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you, Luhan. Yeah. Bipolar disorder. So that's why I cannot do meditation. It's not good for me, like not recommended, etc. And I said that, well, if I would go to a doctor, they would definitely also diagnose me with this bipolar disorder, no? Because it's quite normal for people to have changes, you know, to have changes in mood, and you become happy and then you are sad, but this is a normal thing, yeah? You know, before, many years ago, it was called something maniac and depression, something like this, maniacal depression disorder or syndrome, something like this. But then it was diagnosed only to people who really have a strong depression and then mania, yeah, something very, very extreme. But now it is just bipolar disorder. It means you go from good emotions to bad emotions, from excitement to some kind of sadness. Show me somebody who cannot be diagnosed like this. Yeah, I know who. People who are on medication. Yeah, like for example, my mother is now in a nursing home, and of course she had stress, and she was put on medication. Now she doesn't have much changes in her mood. But her life is more vegetable now. Yeah? You see, and this is why now everyone goes, as soon as you go to a doctor and say, I have some emotional like swing, yeah? They say, oh, you have a bipolar disorder, so now you get the medication. And they put the whole world on medication. Yeah. But this is a normal thing to have emotions. Yeah. It's human. Yeah. It shows that our body is working. But maybe when it is disbalanced, that we need to balance it somehow. Yeah? Because also emotions are signals. They are signaling us that something is happening, but we don't really know what. Yeah? Like for example, if you have like in Chinese medicine, it is explained very detailed. So if you have a kind of a hypofunction of a certain organ, then you have this emotion. If you have a hyperfunction, then you have another emotion dominating you. Yeah. So, but then they give you medication, you have no emotions, but doesn't mean that your kidney or your lung or your heart are now okay. But now you don't have a symptom. Yeah. And of course, they put you on medication. There is a reason why they put you on medication. Yeah. Instead of helping you to understand what's happening. Yeah. It's so easy. Yeah. So, but what we can do, what's the problem with emotions? The problem is, for example, that emotions push us to do things. And they also distort our perception. Yeah? So, this is called limitations, no? We feel this is our free will, but this is the free will of our emotions. Yeah? The emotions are just coming to us and make us do things. Yeah? And then emotions, they just grab something and then we see only one thing. Only one thing. Maybe we can see only good side. Like when they are in love, you know? When people are in love, you know, it's a disaster sometimes, yeah? They say, oh, mama, he's so different. Open your fucking eyes, pardon me my French, yeah? No, you don't understand, he's so different. Yeah. Yeah. So special. You see, this is what emotions do to us. And then, of course, we are not really aware of what we are doing. It means we know some consequences because we want some consequences, yeah? But they do not happen, these consequences. So this is the problem with emotions. So we can learn to observe the emotions, and emotions are basically how we observe them as states of mind. Of course, emotions are also related to our breathing, our life energy. They are related to our body sensation. But first of all, we detect in our minds. Yeah? Okay, so let's try to do this. Even when I was talking, I gave a very short talk, maybe for 5-6 minutes now, yeah? But you probably experience some emotions, like agreeing or disagreeing, or maybe feeling pissed offness. Huh? You know, Paul Ekman is a very, very famous scholar who is working together with the Dalai Lama, who is a prototype of this for this movie, The Theory of Lie, or something like this. I don't remember. With Tim Roth playing the professor who was detecting people when they were lying, or lie to me, or something like this. Yeah, kind of serious. Yeah, and Paul Ekman was the prototype for that. And Paul Ekman he made this big atlas of emotions, but there is no pissed offness there. Yeah, I think it's a big shortcoming for that book on emotions. Should be added there, definitely, because this is one of the most frequently experienced emotions, that pissed offness, no? Okay. So we observe our state, we observe our mind. Now we know where we look. Lily, you know, pissed offness, it's pissed off. You know this word, pissed off. Being pissed off. So then you add ness and then it becomes pissed offness. Yeah. You won't find it in the dictionary so far. But I hope maybe it spreads and then it becomes, you know, the word of the year. Like a couple of years ago, it was like something like post-truth, a word of the year. So maybe for the next year, we'll have pissed offness, yeah. You know, people love new words. A guy who invented the word crowdfunding. There is nothing special about this crowdfunding, but the guy invented a good word, crowdfunding. You know what happened? He was invited all over the world to give talks about crowdfunding because he invented this word for something that already existed. He didn't invent crowdfunding. Yeah. So I think pissed offness is a good chance. Yeah. Okay. So we observe the states of the mind So check the state of your mind. Is it calm or agitated? Is it still or moving? This is the most important thing to discover, still or moving. Is it quiet or noisy? Is it relaxed, serene, or charged? Not trying to change the state of your mind. You don't need to change, you need to just recognize. Is it sleepy or awake? Is it clear or foggy? Is it bright or dull? Is it perceptive, sensitive, or indifferent, numb? Is it sharp or stupid? At this moment, is it composed or scattered? Present or distracted? Is there jealousy, pride, frustration, anger, fear, depression, excitement? And then just notice how the states are changing. So this is how we can be present to the states of our mind. Is it clear how to be aware of the states of our mind? Show me clear or not clear. Yeah, very, very clear. So it means now you have some kind of eye, you know where to look. Good. And oftentimes when people teach this presence and awareness, they stop at this point. Okay, just observe the states of your mind. Yeah? But we don't, we are not going to stop. So just continue to observe the states of your mind. Okay. So you notice there are different states. But then there are states of mind. Yeah. Very clear, there are states of mind. But what is that mind which is changing states? Try to find, is there anything, can you detect, can you identify, can you find something we call mind which is changing these states? There are states, so there should be something that has these states. Okay. So try to find if there is some kind of thing which is changing states, and these are states of our mind, so this thing is the mind. So we have states of mind, and we can easily detect these states of mind. But can we detect the mind itself? So try to find this mind which is changing states. And if you don't find, you relax in this non-finding. So notice the changing states of your mind. and try to find if there is a mind itself. That has different states. And when you don't find anything, just relax. So check if your mind is calm or moving, still or agitated, charged or serene, clear or foggy, bright or dull. If it is scattered or composed, present or distracted, sleepy or awake, obedient or disobedient, if there are jealousy, frustration, fear, depression, anger, desire, pride, pissed offness, and notice how the states of mind change. But then try to find the mind itself, which is changing the states. And when you don't find anything concrete, just relax in this non-finding. And relax. When you don't find, relax in this non-finding. Okay. So, how was your experience with finding or non-finding the mind itself, which is experiencing all those states? Yeah, Padma Lily, please.
I experienced emptiness when I didn't find the mind.
Good, good. That's exactly what we should experience. This is the way to find emptiness. Because if you're just looking for emptiness, we never find. But when we're looking for something which does not exist, the mind, and we cannot find it, yeah? It's very strange, no? It is something that can have different states. So there should be something there, no? And we don't find. This is a kind of state, yeah? We don't find, and then we relax in this non-finding. Yeah, this is called emptiness. Okay, Michelle, please.
Just a quickie. Yeah, moments of fear. There's nothing there. Where am I? Something like this, you know.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Good.
and exhausting, absolutely exhausting.
Exhausting. Why?
Yeah, for me. Well, I'm tired anyway. I'm extremely tired. I haven't been sleeping well lately, so that's a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just watched that as well, how I'm so tired. But
Yes.
yeah, it was a bit scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary, but where is my mind? No,
Exactly.
where is my mind? Oh shit! I lost it somewhere. But it never existed from the beginning. That's why it's called emptiness. But this emptiness is cognizant. Yeah. So this is this famous emptiness. And it's scary. It can be scary. And actually, feeling scared is one of the signs that we really got that. We can even have hair standing on its tips. Yeah, physically, really. We can have this goosebumps. Yeah. When we have this experience, it's good. It means it's real. It's not intellectual. Because when we have intellectual understanding of emptiness, nothing happens. Oh, okay, everything is empty. No. In Buddhist texts, in Sutric texts, it is said, for example, that when you discover emptiness, then you have hair on your body standing on its tips. Yeah. So you have goosebumps. Yeah. Okay, Rajan, please.
Yeah, I had a question. What that fear, that's something I've had experience of sometimes in meditation, or generally when I'm quite present. What do you do with that fear? Because I find that instinctively it makes me want to sort of turn away from awareness. So how do you manage that?
Okay, with a fear, you observe. You observe, how is this fear? How is it arising? Okay, but where is that fear? Does it have a shape or color? Who is feeling this fear? Is there a distance, a difference between me and this fear? So we look at this fear from different angles, and in this way we can liberate this fear. Then we have, okay, fear, just another movement. Doesn't mean it necessarily goes away, but it's just another movement. And then we are no longer conditioned by this fear. You know, in mornings today, and the same days in the morning, we have a course on emotions, liberating emotions. So maybe you can join. And the next 2 sessions, we are going to deal mainly with fear. Next week and the last week. But in the morning, I don't know where you are. Maybe it's not good for you in terms of time zones, but there are recordings.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you.
But fear is something basic we need to know how to deal with. Whether on the level of spiritual practice or secular practice, because everyone has fear. Everyone experiences fear. It can be related to different things. It can be related to the idea of death. It can be related to the idea of pain. It can be related to the idea of losing something. There can be different kinds of fear. There can be a kind of existential fear that has no evident reason. So fear is something very basic. So it's very important to learn how we can deal with fear. But the first prerequisite for dealing with fear is presence and awareness, which is the core of this present course. If you don't have it, then whatever we explain how we deal with fear, it doesn't work. Then we need to do medication, yeah? And becoming a kind of good member of a society, but a little bit like a vegetable. Yeah. So first of all, we develop presence and awareness. Fear is fear. Nothing to fear about. Okay. Yeah, please, Padma Lily.
You talking about this fear of existence. I experienced several times during the month. It's like very strange because I'm just in my house doing my task, washing dishes or walking, go to for tortillas anyway, and suddenly I experience like space, sky is like a fuck, what I am doing here, I'm alive. It's a very weird fear. I was thinking that nobody knows about this fear, but you say only fear for existence.
It's a kind of an existential fear. We can call it existential because there is no evident reason, there is no evident threat for this fear. So, but then you deal with it directly. So this is, actually this fear is the reason why we try to find so many activities, because when we are engaged into many activities, we don't feel it. We get distracted. But this fear is a kind of a basic quality of our human existence. So we need to deal with it directly and fearlessly deal with fear, yeah? To develop a kind of courage of dealing with this fear. Okay, this is the fear. But what is this fear? Okay, this is just my experience. This is just something that I experience in my mind and in my body. That's it. Yeah, it can be paralyzing. Okay, I feel paralyzed, but I feel it. I am aware of this. I feel terrified. I feel my breathing is tense. I cannot breathe. Okay, I feel it. I notice it. And this is the only way to really deal with fear, like basic way. Yeah, to be able to be with fear, not to fight fear, not to suppress fear, but first step is to be able to be with fear, because if we are not able to be with fear, we cannot understand it. Yeah, and then it's kind of become like eternal. Our destiny is to be with fear because it's coming again and again if you don't understand it. But the fear is the function of what is called ego. Yeah, this is a function of ego. If we go beyond fear, we go beyond ego. Yeah. So this is the principle. And for example, in the practice of church, there is a Buddhist practice of church. We deal with fear and we are trying to generate as much fear as possible, which is absolutely great, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. So just be present, be aware. Yeah, Alonso.
I have a question. In the circle, in some of the circles that I move, these kind of entrepreneurial circles, they say you should get out of your comfort zone. You should face the fear so you can sort of expand your ability to make an impact in the world, make the world a better place, whatever. It's kind of, what are your thoughts on that thing of your comfort zone and then willingly or like consciously stepping out of it so you can kind of develop something like your ego or something? I'm confused.
Well, you know, there is I don't know if you have it in your segment of internet, but in the Russian segment of internet, there is a kind of a famous meme that like something like people are telling me to leave my comfort zone. Come on, let me find it.
Yeah.
So let me find it. First, find your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because when you feel like this, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to move. Is it a comfort zone? It's not a comfort zone. It's really not a comfort zone. You need to find your comfort zone. So it means you need to discover how you feel, and you feel terrible, but it's okay. But who makes you feel terrible? Your own tensions, your own fears. So first of all, you discover, and then you can relax. And then you find a comfort zone.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like in these entrepreneurs, and it's like the entrepreneur as the new hero of these times, that you need to be an entrepreneur and accomplish things and make money. I feel a little bit what you're saying, that it's based on a kind of on an insecurity hidden, that you need to do something so people love you for what you do instead of loving you for who you are, or not loving you.
Yeah, maybe. I cannot judge, but it can be also a kind of a justification of one's own stress.
Yes.
Yeah, you have stress always. So it means you do something, you cannot stop.
Yes.
Yeah, but then, why? In order to be great, in order to make some money, etc., you relax. Yeah. Because also this is in your culture, no? This is Latin American. Mañana. Comfort zone. You know this joke. I tell you a joke. We are a little bit running out of time, but I think it's okay. So the joke is Muslim businessman and Latin American businessman are making a negotiation. So they have a long and difficult negotiations. They go here and there, they're trading. And during this negotiation, the Latin American guy is always saying, mañana, mañana. And the Muslim guy is saying, inshallah, inshallah. It's Arabian, Saudi Arabian, maybe like Emirates, inshallah. And finally, they make a deal, they shake hands, and then this Arabian guy is asking, Latin American guy is asking, but what is this word mañana? You're always saying mañana, mañana, but what does it mean? What is the real sense of this word? I say, oh, mañana. Mañana means that maybe it will happen tomorrow, maybe the next day, maybe in a week, maybe in a month, maybe in a year, and maybe it never happens. This is mañana. Yeah, okay, clear. But what is inshallah? Well, inshallah is more or less the same as this your mañana, but without all this unnecessary hurry.
More relaxed.
Yeah, even more relaxed. See, this is a comfort zone. So first you find your comfort zone. First you find. And then you can you can talk about living it. But the problem with all these businessmen, they don't have their comfort zone. They have some kind of, there is some instrument to make holes with like very thin, like it's like a nail. I don't know how to call it, but it's a like handy instrument that you make holes.
It's a drill.
Huh?
A drill.
No, not a drill. Drill is something rotating, but it's just like a nail, but very.
Taladro.
Huh?
Taladro in Spanish.
Maybe, I don't know, but doesn't matter. We have an expression, in Russian we call it shilo. And we have expression shilo in the S. Yeah, somebody has shilo in the S. It means always moving, always wants to do something very, very active, you know. But you cannot have a comfort zone when you have shilo in your S, no? You have to take it out first. Okay. Okay, Rosie, please.
Well, when I first had to deal with fear, real fear for my life, I was rock climbing. And I got to a point where I was totally committed. And if I fell off, there would be dire consequences. And I was bridging up this shallow, steep groove, and there weren't any holes. I just got terrified and get what we call the sewing machines, when one leg starts shaking up and down. So you take one hand off the rock and you stop it. And I've seen this happen to people when they've ended up and there's nothing left to hold them on and they fall off. And I thought, this is no good. This is absolutely no good. How am I going to stop this fear? And this was long before actually I ever did any meditation. But it stood me in such good stead later in life. I started breathing into it, trying to calm myself down and breathing in and breathing in and breathing in until the sewing machine stopped. And what I found was that at that point, the energy that had been trapped in my body as fear and was causing the shaking was so powerful. When it was released and flowed, I just flew up the rest of it without any effort at all. And there still weren't any holes.
Yeah, good.
And so, you know, now it's just realizing that the energy of fear is just a stuck energy. And if I can let it flow, it's not only stops me being afraid, it actually will carry me through to wherever it is I have to land up.
Yeah, yeah. All emotions are like this, not just fear. Everything is like this. It's a kind of a blocked energy.
Yeah.
Different colors, like different flavors of energy. Yeah. Because it's blocking us. It's making us do things. It's making us feel things.
Right.
Yeah. And I can tell you a story about my experience with fear. And it happened in the end of 2014. And maybe you know that I'm coming from Donetsk, which is in eastern Ukraine, and it is the capital of rebels, yeah, which want to separate from the Ukraine and join Russia. So this is my city. And I left it in summer of 2014 because there were too much artillery shelling from the Ukrainian side. And but then I wanted to return. I returned for one day to pick up my desktop computer. I left it there. So, and it was still a time of strong shelling, but it was possible to go through the to cross the front line. So I went through the front line. I came home. I didn't stay home for the night. I went to my friend, my girlfriend, and because also she was staying alone and she was afraid. And I was spending the night there in the center of the city. And that night, there was particularly strong artillery attack on the city. And sometimes we would never know where these shells of howitzers and mortars, they can reach quite far because the Ukrainian army was right on the edge of the city and they were shelling non-discriminating over the living quarters at everywhere. So everyone was in danger. And even in the center of the city, but from the center to the border, like it was like something like 7, maybe 10 kilometers, which is not so much. And for howitzers, for reactive, not only howitzers, but also reactive artillery, etc., missiles, rockets. So it was all reachable. And of course I felt afraid. It was in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock in the night, 2 o'clock in the night, and there is this shelling, and then you hear that the separatist army is responding, like also shelling from one side, from another side, and it's in the middle of the night, and it's the end of November, so it's a terrible weather, it's cold, it's dark, it's very humid, so it was rainy, etc. So not a nice condition, and I feel fear. And then I thought, okay, I'm a practitioner. I feel fear, I feel terrible fear in this situation. Then what can I do in this situation? And then I tried to apply different kinds of methods that I knew, to just observing fear, discovering who is afraid, trying to transform fear. I did everything I knew, everything, and it didn't work. Really, it didn't work with this shelling. Nothing worked. Nothing helped. And then at some point, I realized, but this is not just my fear. Yeah, we are all interconnected. And here there is like at this moment in this city, not everyone was there. Usually it's 1 million people, but at that moment it was maybe 700,000 people. So we have 700,000 people around me. A person next to me is lying and being afraid. All people in this building are afraid. And all people around in the city, like 700,000 people are afraid. And this is not my fear. This is also a fear of all these people. And what can I do to eliminate this fear? I have no this capacity. It's impossible for me. Yeah, and I gave up. And as soon as I gave up and I stopped fighting my fear, immediately it evaporated, and I felt so nice, so warm, so calm, very spacious, and like good attitude, like loving attitude, etc. And I just quietly fell asleep. And I slept till the end of the night in spite of these artillery shelling around. Yeah. So this is my experience with fear. One of, I had many, of course. Okay. So now you have something to do. You have something to practice. And now we are going to summarize for ourselves what we learned in this session, what we experienced, what we discovered. And then we feel that it was worthy. So it was something good, and we feel the appreciation. We appreciate what we did and what we received. And on the base of this appreciation of feeling satisfied, we make a wish that may it continue this good way, and may our experience develop and mature, our knowledge, our experience, our skills, may them all develop and mature and bring good results both for ourselves and also for others.